In our Committee of Adjustment meeting. For everyone's information, we will generally deal with each application according to the agenda order. Extra copies are available on the back table. Anyone present who wishes to speak in support or against an application, as well as anyone with any questions or concerns, will have an opportunity to speak. The committee will make their decision following each application. If there was anyone present who is not an applicant or agent but is interested in the decision of the committee, you may fill out one of the forms attached to the clipboard on the back table and file it with our Secretary-Treasurer, Sherry Mott. Please list the file number and your full name and mailing address. In order to be kept advised of a possible appeal to the local planning appeal tribunal, you must request that you be sent a copy of the committee's decision on the application. The decisions are final if there are no appeals, 20 days after the committee's decision. May I please remind everyone that we are being recorded and to turn off your microphones as appropriate, and also please turn cell phones off. The first order of business is to determine if any members have any disclosures of interest when considering any of the applications that we'll be dealing with today. Are there any disclosures of interest? Okay. 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 And have all the members received the minutes of the previous meeting? Okay. And are there any errors or omissions? If not, I have a resolution before me, and I need a mover to accept the minutes of the Committee of Adjustment meeting held Wednesday, August 21st, 2019, and they be adopted as circulated. Okay, Alan. And a seconder, Marcel. Okay, and all in favor? Okay, carried. Okay, our first application being considered is file number BNPL 2019258. That's for a severance, and the applicant is Kevin Vierink. Is the applicant present? Okay, thank you. And I will now ask the planner for his report.
All right, so this is a severance application of a dwelling made surplus through farm amalgamation in the former geographic township of Townsend. Subject lands are 1.37 acres in size and fronts onto the south side of Concession 11 Townsend, west of County Line. The lands currently contain a single detached dwelling, an existing detached garage, and an existing shed. The lands are part of a larger 40.2 hectare farm parcel. The farm parcel contains no structures. Surrounding land uses are agricultural and rural residential in nature. The official plan permits consents to sever land for currently habitable farm dwellings that are surplus to a farming operation as a result of the consolidation of farm properties. The subject application will result in one lot created and one lot retained. The subject application will not adversely affect the operation or viability of the farm operation on the retained parcel. The lands are designated and zoned for agricultural use. Single detached dwellings and associated accessory buildings are permitted uses in the agricultural zone. A condition of the severance will be to rezone the retained lands such that a single detached dwelling be removed as a permitted use. The subject application is consistent with the provincial policy statement and conforms to the official plan consent policies. Staff recommend that this application be approved subject to the attached conditions.
Okay. Does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Dennis?
Well, thank you very much. And I'm looking at the diagram here, and it shows the farm entrance on the lot to be severed. Is that normal, or should they move that driveway over?
There's another farm entrance further down County Line.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for planning staff? Are there any questions for the applicant? No? Is there anyone present that wishes to speak regarding this application? Okay. Planning staff have recommended approval. Could I have somebody make a motion to move that? Adam? And a seconder, Lisa? Okay, the subject application is consistent with Provincial Policy Statement 2014 and conforms to the intent of the Norfolk County Official Plan regarding the severance of a dwelling made surplus through farm amalgamation, and that no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of the application. All in favor? Okay, it's approved. The next application is file number BNPL 2019260. The applicants are Frank and Barbara Schuster, and that is for a severance. Okay, are the applicants present? Okay, thank you. And I will now ask the planner to give the report.
So this is a severance application of a dwelling made surplus for farm amalgamation in the former geographic township of Middleton. Subject lands are 1.05 acres in size and front onto the north side of 2nd Concession Road, west of Highway 59. The lands currently contain a single detached dwelling, detached garage, and are part of a larger 37.2 hectare farm parcel that also contains a residential dwelling and a farm building. Surrounding land uses are agricultural and rural residential in nature. The official plan permits consents to sever land for currently habitable farm dwellings that are surplus to a farming operation as a result of the consolidation of farm properties. The subject application will result in one lot created and one lot retained. The retained lands currently contain a single detached dwelling, therefore the retained lands will not need to be rezoned to remove a single detached dwelling as a permitted use. The subject application and severed lot will not adversely affect the operation or viability of the farm operation on the retained lands. The lands are designated and zoned for agricultural use, which permits single detached dwellings and associated accessory buildings in the agricultural zone. The subject application is consistent with the provincial policy statement and conforms to the official plan consent policies. Staff recommend that this application be approved, subject to the attached conditions.
Okay. Does the committee have any questions for planning staff? No questions? Okay. Any questions for the applicants? I see none. Is there anyone present that wishes to speak regarding this application? Okay. Staff have recommended approval, and I need someone to make a motion to move that. Dennis? And a seconder? Rudy? The subject application is consistent with the Provincial Policy Statement 2014 and conforms to the intent of the Norfolk County Official Plan regarding the severance of a dwelling made surplus through farm amalgamation, and no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of the application. All in favor? Okay. It's approved. Thank you. Okay, the next application is for a minor variance. File number is ANPL 2019262. The applicants are Yvette and Vern Belmore. Are the applicants present? Okay. And I will ask the planning staff to give their report.
All right, so this is a minor variance application to construct a single detached dwelling requiring relief from zoning bylaw provisions to allow for a front yard setback of 6 meters, a rear yard setback of 7 meters. Subject lands are 0.86 acres in size and fronts onto the west side of Blue Line Road between Old Highway 24 and Concession 10 Townsend. The lands are currently vacant with residential uses to the west and agricultural uses to the east. The subject lands are zoned agricultural with a unique lot configuration that is wide but shallow, resulting in the requested relief. The proposed development is considered appropriate in this instance as the requested relief helps to preserve separation between the proposed dwelling and Blue Line Road. As well, no private landowner is directly impacted by the relief. The subject lands will maintain sufficient amenity space with large side yards. The requested relief from applicable zoning bylaw provisions is considered minor in nature, and no public opposition to the requested relief has been received. Planning staff have received a comment regarding lot drainage from a nearby property owner that does not relate to the subject application. Staff recommend that this application be approved.
Okay, does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Dennis?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Just to recognize, we received 2 documents on our desk when we got here tonight. One in favor of the application, another one raising some concerns. And my question to staff is about the unopened, or let me rephrase that, the old Blue Line, I suppose it's called. It says here no longer traveled, but I would challenge that because there are people that are using it. Have staff looked into that and having council declare it surplus, or any other options on the table? Because it's still a county road, and we should be taking care of the water that comes off that road, right?
Well, it's my understanding that is a road allowance, correct? So as it stands right now, it will not be closed. That's pretty much where we're standing on that one.
So on the tail end of that, it's our Norfolk County's road. And Norfolk County should take care of the water that drains off that road, correct? So has there any conversation between planning and roads on this issue?
We have not received a comment directly about that from our Public Works Department.
Okay, I'll ask everyone.
I'll speak louder.
You'll have an opportunity to speak. Okay. Okay, I'll ask everyone to speak up. Are there any other questions for planning staff? Oh.
So that is Norfolk County road allowance. We have not received comment from Public Works regarding that road and the drainage.
Are there any other questions?
We have not received comment from Public Works regarding drainage on that road.
Not with respect to this application. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Are there any other questions for planning staff? Does the committee have any questions for the applicants? Okay. I'll have you maybe take a seat. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak regarding this application? Please come forward and please state your name.
Thank you.
Okay.
Paul Hrvorovich, I'm at property 658, which is on that old Blue Line Road. And we have contacted the county at 2 or 3 different times regarding a drainage issue, water dumping from across Highway 24, down my property line, across the Blue Line, across the said property, and out to a drainage area which is plugged. So we have contacted 3 to 4 times. We've had site visits by the county, the Public Works and Water, and the old Norfolk County where Bill Moore was the foreman on the site. They know there was a water issue, and they've put it back in my hands, which I don't think I'm a property owner. I should be doing drainage for the county. And other than that, I don't have a problem regarding this lot being sold and a house going up, but I do have a problem regarding a draining issue. Last 15 years, and I sent an email to the county, last 15 years I spent $48,000 in property tax, $6,000 in putting an embankment up to stop the water dumping on my property, and $3,000 having a contractor come in at 5 o'clock in the morning, clear out the snow that the county has banked up, not allowing the flood waters to go. It comes on my property and floods my whole back property. The county is definitely aware because they've been on site. But regarding the issue of a proposed home, I have no objection. My objection is the dumping of water on my property.
Okay, thank you. Just to clarify, I think the question with regards to, the statement from the planning staff with regards to the Public Works not commenting on this application,
I think water was mentioned.
they circulate these applications to various departments, and those departments comment back.
Mm-hmm.
So if they did not comment back, it would not be included. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Reason?
Well, if they didn't, if they received circulation regarding the application, and they did not comment back on this application.
Reason? Why? It's an issue.
So we circulate comments to sort of all the departments in DCS, and sort of development engineering is the liaison between planning staff and Public Works. Development engineering looks at all of these when creating lots or doing minor variances, and it is up to them to determine if there is an issue regarding drainage.
Well, I'm not objecting to the building
May I finish?
and the minor variance.
So they have not sent us back a comment regarding drainage on this issue because it is not directly affecting this minor variance.
But it's if you let the minor variance go, which I hope you do, it's affecting me, the property owner. Because if you don't do the proper swale and the proper drainage for the elevation, right now water's going uphill. Well, when it's going uphill, it's coming back on my property. So they should be aware of it. I talked to Bill Mays, and I've talked to Chris Dunn, and I've talked to Terry Hall, and I've talked to Sherry Mott. So if I'm talking to these people, there's definitely a concern.
Correct.
It's
Okay.
water dumping on my property, which I don't want. Build a house, I don't care. But stop the dumping of water on my property.
Okay.
And it's county water.
Sherry has just indicated that your comments have been forwarded to Public Works. Okay, and I think Dennis had a comment or a question.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. And just to clarify, Mr. Hrvojevic, you said the water was coming off 24 and flowing down?
There's a catch basin here
Yeah.
at 661.
You'll have to stand at the microphone so everybody can hear you.
There's a catch basin at 661 Old High 24. It goes under the road with
Staff,
a...
can you put this up? Sherry, can you put this one up? Thank you.
Thank you.
There we go.
On the left-hand side, this 661, Lot 6, Concession 9, there's a catch basin across the street on Old Highway 24. It goes under the road, it runs along Lot 6, Concession 9, all the way across to the old Blue Line Road, and then it runs across the said property that we're talking about getting a minor variance on. It runs up to the blue line, hangs a tight right, and heads directly south down the road, and supposed to catch a catch basin of some sort or a drainage by the county, which it can't because it's uphill, and all the water builds up. My property is the one, the last four digits are 2100, Lot 6, Concession 7. It floods my whole backyard. About 1,500 square feet of backyard it floods, and when it really gets bad, it goes into my shop.
Okay, so just that we understand here.
Yep.
And we hear Mr. Hrvojevic saying he doesn't object to
No.
the application.
No.
But just to make sure that we have the connection that's needed with other departments in the county, that you're saying there's a catch basin runs under the road.
Correct.
And there must be an easement on those properties then for that to cross that property?
I have no idea.
Okay. The reason I raise it is that if there is a catch basin, or if there's a pipe that's going under the road and across this proposed application, then there's an easement issue. You don't want to be building on an easement, right?
On my surveyed paper here, it says caution to be exercised in respect to directing surface drainage to the north.
Okay.
And this was done by Jewett and Dixon.
Okay. So, Madam Chair, if I may help here in
Yeah.
some way.
Thank you.
We hear Mr. Horowitz say that he has no objection, so we can pass this tonight.
Yep.
But I do want to make my opinion strong in that planning staff have to actively interface with Public Works and Drainage to deal with this particular issue. It's not a planning issue, but they should be sending this forcefully forward to those departments and saying, please deal with this and contact Mr. Horowitz.
And that's why I'm here. Thank you very much. Like I said, I have no objections on it except regarding this water issue. Any questions for me?
Oh, the power's not on the side.
Now you know how I feel. I couldn't find it either.
My other left, yes. So when it comes time to, once this is approved and they get the building permit stage, there'll be a drainage drawing done for the lot once construction is underway that may alleviate some of this problem, hopefully.
In the report, it is stated that a lot grading plan may be required at the building permit stage, in which this will be addressed.
The word may,
Yes, the word
I'm not
may.
happy with that word may. It should be addressed. I object to the word may. It said it should be addressed.
Dennis?
Okay, again, to add whatever I can to this, you know, that's the comment from whoever,
Paul.
building or building inspector made a comment, and the development engineering folks made comment. So, and that's where it comes about talking about this lot and this lot only. It doesn't talk about the broader issue of water draining, as Mr. Horowitz says, from 24 down and across. So, again, I repeat my offer is that planning staff should forcefully send this forward and have them contact Mr. Horowitz. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else present that wishes to speak? Okay. Okay, could you please state your name?
I'm Linda Miller with Randy Miller, and we live on in this section, and we're the first property. So in the triangle, we're the bottom right. First of all, we have no problem with the Korzeks selling their property. That whole triangle is the result of what happened at the end of the city of Nanticoke time when they straightened out, and I have every piece of paperwork around that, and and what happened just wasn't fair to the Korzeks. So on that note, I want you to know that. We do have some concerns though. When that house was built, it was built on the blue line. We were 2113 blue line. And as a result of the final straightening, the one thing that happened was we were still 2113 blue line, but we were far away from the blue line. And when there was an emergency, we finally, Bill Cridlin changed us to a concession 10 number. Our driveway of the house and the garage, I should stick to my notes, drives out onto the blue line. So when we hear, so our number one concern is that the blue line will continue to be maintained, and we want assurances that the road will continue to be maintained and left open, maintained winter and summer. And like Paul says, we often have to call to have it plowed out. It's still graded, and it's been a little bit harder as we've gotten newer and newer people who don't know the history. That's the one concern. Our concern too is water and the grading. Paul talks about the water coming along the side of his property, but because Old 24 is higher than we are. First of all, I want you to know if I didn't say it, we've been here 26 years. So we have seen a lot of changes. We've seen a lot of water. The water runs right down from Old 24. And it pools there, and we just want to make sure that we're not going to start getting water. And it comes when, like Paul said, when he gets flooded, it comes over to us as well. We just want to make sure that that we're not going to have any more water. As it is, we lost our driveway. We had a paved driveway, and we had to dig it out because we sunk up to the axles finally. It destroyed the driveway. So there was considerable expense there. Our third concern is that will there be other things built on this property, like a barn or even worse, another greenhouse marijuana operation? And we say that not lightly because we live across the road from one right now. So we're concerned about what else may be built. And that there will be a survey of the property. So maintaining the road, we're concerned about water. There used to be ditches on the blue line across the road to the south on the Nightingale farm, but they've all been filled in. There also used to be a drainage ditch that ran under the blue line to the other side of the road, and it's disappeared over the 30-plus years since it was there. So those are our concerns.
Okay, Dennis?
Thank you. Again, I'll try to be helpful as I can. My first question is, do you have any objection to the proposal that's before us tonight, which is the minor variance?
No.
Okay. So having said that, this is their doorway, their window to come to a representative of council and voice their complaints. It's the wrong place to be for this issue, but it's their doorway in. So they have to go, and planning staff, as I've recommended, got to talk to roads and drainage and address this issue. Otherwise, these kind folks are going to be directed to a council meeting or a council and committee meeting and voice the same concerns over and over again. But this is the wrong forum for them to be at to voice their concerns that they're voicing. But this is the only door that they see because there's activity in property that's next to them.
And if I may speak, I think we believe that in the end somebody may come along and said, they don't need the blue line, we'll just close it down totally. And Paul and us, our main house is off the blue line, and it wouldn't be maintained. We would be denied access out of our house, and Paul would be denied access out of the back, his business. And we've seen new houses built and they raise them much higher and then water starts coming this way, particularly with the septic tank on that side.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. And we have our assurances that Sherry will be contacting and make them aware of the concerns when it comes to time to issue building permits. And even prior to that, with the drainage issues.
And if we might, due to a lot of staff changes, we know that Mr. Jason Godsby is the acting general manager at the present time for Public Works. You can look him up and give him a call. Jason Godsby.
And that is an issue, is over 25, 26 years. We've had lots, I've talked to lots of people.
I think Jason's about that old.
Okay, are there any other questions from the committee? Okay, thank you. Oh.
If the applicant wants to address any of these concerns that pertain to their application.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say it's going to be a small, around 1,100 square foot home, at the absolute most 1,200 square feet, so it's going to be kind of long and thin, maybe 45 feet wide by 25, and it's going to have, that includes the little attached garage. So it's not going to be a double story or anything like that, okay?
Thank you. Okay, any other questions from the committee? Okay, anyone else present that wishes to speak? Okay. Okay, Planning staff have recommended approval. Do I have someone to make a motion to move that? Okay, Lisa. And a seconder? Adam. Okay, in accordance with Section 45(1) of the Planning Act, the development and requested relief is considered appropriate development, minor in nature, and it maintains the general intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, and that public input was received and therefore has been considered as part of this application. All in favor? Okay. That's carried. Thank you. Okay, the next application is file number BNPL 2019267. The applicants are Darren and Elisa Scram, and it's for a severance. Could I ask planning staff to give their report?
This is an application by Darren and Elisa Scram for the severance of a surplus farm dwelling through farm amalgamation. Property has a frontage of 102 meters and an area of 1.3 acres in the township of Houghton. The lot contains a house and garage, and the surrounding lands are used for agricultural purposes. The proposed application is consistent with the PPS and conforms to the Norfolk County official plan with respect to surplus farmhouses. Zoning bylaw will be enacted to remove the use of a dwelling on the retained land, and the application is recommended for approval, subject to the attached conditions.
Okay, does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Dennis?
Madam Chair, and I did send an email out to all board members, committee members. Rudy, did you? I had to catch up on your email change. But it was a question about the relationship between LPRCA and the county. And if you read the comments, it said a permit from LPRCA may be required. And there's another one that's in the bundle as well. So I'm looking at it from two perspectives. The first one is, if I were the applicant and I read the conditions, I don't see anything there about LPRCA permit, number one. So I'm guessing, because I'm not the applicant, but I'm guessing there's got to be a communication that's happening between LPRCA and the applicant. I'm guessing that. But I don't have that comfort level sitting here because I don't see it. And heaven forbid that the applicant finds himself in a difficulty on permits between LPRCA and a hazard land and Norfolk County. So I guess I need an assurance from staff that there is that communication happening, that there is no crack that something can fall through, that somebody's not all of a sudden getting a permit from the county and they're building something without the LPRCA obligation being fulfilled.
Okay. Do you have any comments with regards to that?
Mr. Trevally, through you to Mr. Trevally. Yes, we do work with the Long Point Region Conservation Authority on all these things. They're normally circulated. They're aware that there was a severance application. Anybody who applies for a building permit for an additional building on that property will be notified by the building department that it's in the regulatory area, and they will be directed to go to the Conservation Authority to get the proper permits. We don't put it as a condition of approval because they only have 1 year, and if they're not building anything, they're not going to be able to meet the conditions. So we just leave it for the applicant to contact the building department if they want a building permit, which in turn goes to the Conservation Authority.
Thank you very much for that. And I said I had it from two perspectives. The second perspective is the Ontario government is looking at LPRCA and other conservation authorities to get back to their core business. I'm not sure that planning permits were ever their core business. So I don't know what's going to happen in the future, so I have a bit of an apprehension. And my question would be, and I talked to the mayor and a few others about this, would be that can't one authority delegate to another authority? Can't the LPRC sort of delegate this to the county to look after? No, it's a hypothetical question. Nobody needs to answer it here tonight. But it's just, one hand's got to know what the other hand's doing, and if one hand is all of a sudden under the microscope to be changed in one way or another, we should be very cautious about that.
Okay. Marcel?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, there is a house that's going to be removed on that property, I understand, right? Isn't there a house on there now that's going to be removed?
Are the applicants present? Yeah. Do you want to come to the podium, please? Okay. So the question was, is there a house on the property that's going to be removed?
No, it's severed.
Severed.
The lot's severed
Okay.
as an access farm dwelling.
Is that house going to remain?
Yes, it will.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just that there was so much bulldozing, I thought that was going to be... No.
Bulldozing, sir?
No, not really, eh?
No, there's no bulldozing at all.
Okay. Okay, I thought maybe...
You guys got a picture of the property? Like, where is the said bulldozing or?
Not bulldozing. I thought there was some land work being done. I thought the lot was going to be made a lot bigger.
Oh, no. We had planned on this dwelling, we need to sell it. The parcel is what the idea of is.
Oh, okay.
So we don't want the home or the buildings.
Oh, okay.
We're doing what the rest of the farmers do in the county, and and actually the only contact that Long Point Conservation was through the county. When we went to the planning department, we had to pay a fee because the drainage ditch was so many meters from the said properties that was being severed. There was no communication between, other than me and, I'm trying to think, Stephen, between the properties and Long Point. There was no communication between Long Point, between myself, my wife, or Long Point Conservation.
So I'm just wondering why Long Point was involved if there was...
As far as I know, the drainage ditch is classed as a, as Stephen put it, as a, trying to think of the zoning. Hazard land, and that dwelling is the drainage ditch. That's why it's a triangular parcel, is because the drainage ditch runs down through the property back end. And then the other side is where we kept it. We wanted to keep it to an acre if possible for a crossing over the ditch to the back field, where we plant it's in beans this year. So that's why the weird angle on that property. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions from the committee? No? Okay. Is there anyone present that wishes to speak regarding this application? No? Okay. Staff have recommended approval. Can they have someone make a motion to move that? Alan? The seconder? Lisa? Okay, the subject application is consistent with Provincial Policy Statement 2014 and conforms to the intent of the Norfolk County Official Plan regarding the severance of a dwelling made surplus through farm amalgamation. And no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of the application. All in favor? Okay. That's approved. Thank you. Okay, the next application is file number BNPL 2019268. It's for severance. Applicants are Chris and Marianne Babcock. Are the applicants present? Okay, thank you. And I'll ask the planning staff to give the report.
This is an application for a boundary adjustment to add a parcel of land to a vacant parcel, and it's in the township of Houghton. The final lot size will be 0.99 acres. The existing lot is tree covered and has elevation changes, which makes it difficult to build on. The proposed lot addition is relatively flat and will add additional lot area for the construction of a dwelling and the installation of an approved septic tank and tile bed system. The proposed application is consistent with the provincial policy statement and conforms to the Norfolk County official plan regarding boundary adjustments, is recommended for approval, subject to the attached conditions.
Okay, does the committee have any questions for planning staff? No? Any questions for the applicants? No? Is there anyone present that wishes to speak regarding this application? Okay, staff are recommending approval. Could I have someone make that motion to approve? Dennis? And a seconder? Rudy? The application is consistent with Provincial Policy Statement 2014 and conforms to the intent of the Norfolk County Official Plan regarding boundary adjustments, and no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All in favor? Okay, that's approved. Okay, the next application is for a minor variance. The applicant is IBI Group, care of Brianne Comley. Application number is ANPL 2019278. And could I have staff give the report, please?
There's actually two applications on this property, one for a severance and one for a minor variance, and we'll deal with the minor variance first. The application has been received for relief of the lot area requirements of the agricultural zone to facilitate the severance of a lot under BNPL 2019-274 in the township of Charlotteville. The applicant is seeking relief of 20.3 hectares from the required 40 hectares to permit a lot area of 19.7 hectares for the proposed severed lot. The subject lands are vacant and are proposed to be added to an existing lot to the east. The proposed application is consistent with the PPS and conforms to the Norfolk County Official Plan, as the purpose of the application is to facilitate a boundary adjustment, and the policies of planning documents allow for boundary adjustments that do not create any additional lot. Planning staff consider the proposed variance minor in nature and recommend approval of the application.
Okay, does the committee have any questions for staff? Dennis?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'm looking at the application and the application to follow by the same applicant. And one is to correct a deficiency or recognize a deficiency.
Yes.
And the second one is to sever some lands.
Correct.
I'm a little lost. Perhaps you can delve into that a bit more for me and tell me what the deficiency was and what's the purpose, what's the objective here?
The objective is for the applicant to have two parcels of land similar in size.
Because I look at the map and it shows retained lands and severed lands and the arrows going, and they're the exact same in both applications.
Well, the subject of the minor variance application is the severed parcel to be added to the parcel to the east.
Okay, any other questions for staff? Okay, are the applicants present? Okay, are there any questions for the applicants? No? Is there anyone present that wishes to speak regarding this application? No? Okay, staff are recommending approval. Can I have someone make a motion to move that? Okay, Rudy? Seconder? Alan? Okay, all in favor? Okay, that's approved. Okay, and the next application is file number BNPL 2019274. The applicant is IBI Group, care of Brianne Comley, and it's for a severance or a boundary adjustment, I guess. Okay, thank you. And can staff give the report?
This is an application to facilitate the severance of a parcel of land having a frontage of 198.1 meters and an area of 11.9 9 hectares and retain a parcel with an area of 20.3 hectares in the township of Charlotteville. The severed lands are to be added to an existing lot to the east. The combined lot area will be 19.3 hectares. The land to be severed is vacant and lake areas to the south and the surrounding lands contain residential uses and vacant land. The proposed severance or a proposed application conforms with the provincial policy statement and the Norfolk County official plan, as the purpose of the application is to facilitate a boundary adjustment, and the policies of the planning documents allow for boundary adjustments that do not create an additional lot. Planning staff consider the proposed boundary adjustment appropriate and recommend approval of the application subject to the attached conditions.
Okay, does the committee have any questions for staff? Dennis?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And in the comments portion, it says that Part 4 and 5 shall be transferred to the Corporation of Norfolk County. Can you show me on the map where Part 4 and 5 is?
Do you have the file?
No.
You need this.
Hi. So part 4 and 5, I don't think it shows on that plan, but we have a, I printed some here, yeah.
Thank you. There you go.
It's all right.
Sorry, it's located at the top of the westerly parcel and portion of the parcel to be severed. It's a road.
Along the front road.
Correct. It's a road widening.
So where is it again?
It's on the very top. It runs across Front Road, across both properties. The property to be retained and the property to be severed. A sliver's on both sides. It's
If
to
I may.
facilitate a road widening, I believe.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for staff or the applicant? Okay. Is there anyone present that wishes to speak regarding this application? Okay. Okay, staff have recommended approval. Could I have someone make a motion to move that? Okay, Adam. And a seconder? Lisa? Okay, all in favor? Okay. That's approved. Thank you. Okay, the next application is ANPL 2019276. It's for a minor variance, and the applicant is Tom and Stephanie Gosnow. And I see you're present. Okay, thank you. And I will ask staff to give their report.
All right, so this is a minor variance application to construct a detached garage requiring relief from zoning bylaw provisions to allow for a height of 6.8 meters, permitted lot coverage of 15.09%, and a usable floor space of 171.6 square meters. Subject lands are 1,025.6 square meters, or a quarter of an acre in size, and fronts onto the west side of Pine Road West in the resort area of Long Point. Lands currently contain a vacation home, a detached boathouse, and an existing shed. The shed is proposed to be removed. The subject lands are zoned resort residential, and the adjacent land uses consist of similarly sized vacation homes and accessory buildings. The proposed development is considered appropriate as it is replacing the existing storage shed, accommodating for a lack of storage space in the existing dwelling, and is not out of character in terms of size or scale with existing accessory structures in the area. The requested relief from zoning bylaw provisions is considered minor in nature, and no public opposition of the application was received. Staff recommend that this application be approved.
Okay. Does the committee have any questions for staff? Dennis?
Once again, under the comments portion, Long Point Region Conservation Authority has made their comments on record that they do not support development that is 2 stories and the possibility of that second story being converted to habitable space. What guarantees do we have that this will not happen? Probably the applicant or the agent can answer, but I'll turn that on.
Well, under Norfolk County zoning bylaws, it's prohibited to have habitable space in the second level. As you know, this year was record high water levels, so nobody can have storage in the basement, and when you're in cottage country, you need lots of spots for storage, so we're opting to go up. The application has been submitted to Long Point Conservation Authority for the building permit with a couple minor details. They are recommending to their board that it be approved in 2 weeks.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any other questions for staff or the agent? Okay, is there anyone present that wishes to speak regarding this application? Okay. Staff are recommending approval. Could I have someone make a motion to, okay, Lisa? And a seconder? Okay, Dennis. Okay, in accordance with Section 45(1) of the Planning Act, the development and requested relief is considered appropriate development, minor in nature, and it maintains the general intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, and no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All in favor? Okay. Thank you. Okay, the next application is for a minor variance. Application number is ANPL 2019277. Applicants are Mary Elgersma and Tony Mendolia. Okay, are the applicants present? Okay. And I will ask staff to give the report.
So a minor variance application to construct a new detached garage requiring relief from zoning bylaw provisions to allow for usable floor space of 67 square meters and an accessory building in the front yard. Subject lands are 7,851 square meters or 1.85 or 1.94 acres in size and fronts onto the south side of Nelson Street West in the urban area of Port Dover. The lands currently contain a single detached dwelling as well as 4 single detached rental vacation dwellings. The subject lands are zoned urban residential type 1. And the adjacent land uses primarily consists of single detached dwellings, however have significantly smaller lot sizes. The proposed development is considered appropriate as it is an accessory building to a permitted residential use in the R1A zone that also provides support services to active business on the property. On September 10th, 2019, Norfolk County Council passed Bylaw 2019-89, an interim control bylaw, to apply to the lands generally described as the lakefront areas, urban settlement area, Ward 6. The subject application falls within the lands affected by the interim control bylaw. However, as per Section 3B, Part 3, a Committee of Adjustment application is exempted from the interim control bylaw as outlined in Section 45(1) of the Planning Act. This is not noted in the planning report as reports were submitted prior to the passing of the bylaw. The requested relief from applicable zoning bylaw provisions is considered minor in nature and no public opposition for the application was received. Staff recommend that this application be approved.
Okay. Does the committee have any questions for staff? No?
So just to be clear, the interim control bylaw does not come into play in this application.
The interim control bylaw will not come into play for any Committee of Adjustment applications.
Okay. Any questions for the applicants? Is there anyone present that wishes to speak regarding this application? No? Okay. And staff are recommending approval. Could I have someone make a motion? Adam? Seconder, Alan? In accordance with Section 45(1) of the Planning Act, the development and requested relief is considered appropriate development, minor in nature, and it maintains the general intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, and that no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All in favor? Okay. And that's approved. Thank you. Okay, the next application is for a minor variance. It's application number ANPL 2019280. The applicant is Greg Isaacs. And I will ask staff to give, is the applicant present? Yeah, okay, thank you. And can staff please give the report?
Yep. So minor variance application to construct an addition to an existing boathouse requiring relief from zoning bylaw provisions to allow for a lot coverage of 17%, a building height of 6.8 meters, and a usable floor space of 116 square meters. Subject lands are 697 square meters in size and fronts onto the west side of Cedar Drive in the resort area of Turkey Point. The lands currently contain a vacation home and an existing boathouse. The existing boathouse is currently 96 square meters in size, larger than the maximum permitted usable floor area of a boathouse in the zoning bylaw provisions. Subject lands are zoned resort residential, and the adjacent land use consists of similarly sized boathouses. Proposed development is considered appropriate as it is expanding upon the currently existing detached boathouse in order to accommodate for the owner's needs and is not out of character in terms of size or scale with adjacent structures in the area. The requested relief from the applicable zoning bylaw provisions is considered minor in nature and no public opposition for the application was received. Staff recommend that this application be approved.
Okay. Does the committee have any questions for staff? No? Any questions for the applicant? Is there anyone present that wishes to speak regarding this application? Okay, and we have a motion to approve. Can I have someone make a move? Dennis? And a seconder, Ruby? Okay, in accordance with Section 45(1) of the Planning Act, the development and requested relief is considered appropriate development, minor in nature, and it maintains the general intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, and no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of the application. All in favor? Okay.